When we talk about anxiety, anxiety at its very core is a physiological experience to some type of stimuli. The stimuli itself can happen externally. That can be sights, sounds, smells, any type of external stimuli, but that can also be as a result of internal stimuli. Thoughts, memories, intrusive thoughts, random stream of consciousness. But that's the biggest difference between anxiety versus thoughts or worry. So when we talk about anxiety, you're looking at both how your physical body is experiencing the stressor or whatever the reaction is, but also mixed with how you're feeling, your emotional response. So anxiety at its very core is a feeling. It is an emotional feeling, but it's also a biological feeling. And where it starts is actually at this part back here of your brain. Now, in order to show this, I like to show my favorite prop. Say hello to Scully. So whenever we look at anxiety, the actual biological mechanism or the feeling of anxiety, it is happening back here in your occipital lobe. It's this back part of your brain. Your occipital lobe is the oldest part of the human brain. It is also the first to develop in utero. Your occipital lobe is the one that handles all of your basic biofunction, your breathing, your blinking, your digestion, all of it. Fundamentally, anxiety lives here. And within this lobe, your body has what is called your autonomic nervous system. And if you ever try to type this into Google or into Microsoft Word, it's going to change it to automatic nervous system because that's really helpful, but it kind of is. Inside the autonomic nervous system, you have basically two branches. You have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Think of your sympathetic nervous system as your on switch. This is your fight, flight, freeze response. The sympathetic nervous system is the part of your brain that when your brain is perceiving a threat, a danger, or something it needs to respond or attune to, it is going to turn on that sympathetic nervous system. Your pupils are going to start to dilate, your breathing might start to change, you might become more hyper aroused or hyper aware of your surroundings as a way to take in data. This is your on switch. On the flip side, you have your parasympathetic nervous system. This is your off switch. This is your calming switch. This is the one that soothes you. This is why, especially in the US after traditional Thanksgiving, you might notice yourself feeling really tired and people are like, oh, it's the tryptophan in the turkey. No, it's because that part of the parasympathetic nervous system handles digestion and sleep. So it's very common that if we eat high amounts of food, then that parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and is like, I'm sleepy now. It also happens post-orgasm as well, because there's this huge rush of physiological energy in the sympathetic nervous system, basically dumps its load, but the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and goes, it's nap time. Now, if everything is working under factory settings, essentially you want your parasympathetic nervous system or your calm switch to be the one that is on most of the time. And then you want your sympathetic nervous system, your on switch, to be on when it's attuning to a potential threat, the anticipation or readiness for when danger might appear. It's kind of like your gauge system. Now, that's nice if everything was factory settings, but for a lot of us, factory settings have been long gone. Again, occipital lobe. What ends up happening for people who have chronic anxiety conditions is it switches, where your default setting is actually to be constantly on. Your sympathetic nervous system is constantly on in a state of preparation or readiness for danger, which danger can exist in our heads. Thank you, frontal lobe. This is where all of your thinking comes from, your perception of those external stimuli, along with your perception of your internal stimuli, intrusive thoughts, memories, worries, any random thought that'll just pop into your head. Thank you, frontal lobe. And the frontal lobe and the occipital lobe dance really fast with each other and very frequent. So if we have a thought that we notice we are perceiving in a certain way, we are more likely to have an anxiety reaction, which then we feel throughout our entire bodies. And then we feel emotional anxiety in response to it. And that could change our behavior. That might include things like getting out of the situation or noticing yourself having to engage in compulsive behaviors or safety behaviors to try to prevent the bad thing from happening or the feared outcome from transpiring. We may just run out of a situation altogether. Avoidance is a really common mechanism of anxiety, how we handle it. So whenever we look at, are we experiencing anxiety? It's not just that we are experiencing anxiety in our bodies. Your brain is very involved. This is helping to gauge your response and your interpretation to any and all stimuli around us. So when we talk about, oh, anxiety's all in your head, yeah, it's right here.